Because that's what I have.
Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. And the correct spelling of the famous puppet, you then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Two things, and I'm going to share my screen. This is Postmates Advanced Training. I'm going to disclose the money I made today, the jobs I did with sharing my screen. First, two topics. One, listeners, in a recent video, I talked about an email that I received from Postmates management who's concerned about my highly active social media stuff. Apparently, they were worried that I would exceed boundaries and potentially disclose proprietary information. I wrote back basically saying, it may seem I have no boundaries, but I do have some self-imposed boundaries, and it would appear now that 2 business days have passed that my pledge of having and honoring boundaries was sufficient. I am, of course, making that conclusion in absence of a reply. But 2 business days tells me that I might be past it. Secondly, this is a conceptual thing, but listeners, if you're considering doing Postmates and you also wonder what else you can do, well, you're around in New York and maybe you can pick up a few things yourself. And I am claiming this from my own experience, that your freedom of, as a Postmate delivery, shopping professional, delivery person, you are relatively limited in your freedom of where you go. I'm only realizing that now because the app is so efficient that it will take you from here to here, and the app knows you're going to be available here, and so it gives you another order that complements the order before it. I mean, the app is just, when it can be efficient, it's crazy efficient. The next jobs come in at the right time, and they make sense they go from one to another, and I had one today that took me 30 blocks from a Bed Bath & Beyond, 20 blocks from a Bed Bath & Beyond to 79th Street and Broadway. And the job that I got as I was going to that, approaching, I think I had dumped my bike, I was on foot, I accept a job. I look at it, it is a job that went from a liquor store to an apartment on that same intersection I was headed to. So the app was smart enough to know where I would be when I was finished. It was ignoring where I was when it gave me the job. It was calculating where I would be when I was finished. So here's my point, listeners. I'm trying to describe this conceptual thing. As soon as, like, I wanted to go to Trader Joe's. I was on the Upper West Side. I could have gone to Trader Joe's on the Upper West Side. But there are things you might want to do, and the app is going to decide you're going to go someplace else. So there is really, if you want to be efficient and you want to make some money without working too hard, doing what the app tells you to is a better way to do that. So you're certainly in New York or wherever you might be, and you've got some freedom if you go offline and you stop taking orders and you go do your thing. But that really takes a chunk out of your time. It seems to take more than the time that it is required to do tasks. However, that's point number 1, relatively limited freedom in where you go. Listeners, point number 2, generous freedom in a brain capital. I can, because of my mobile computing, I can sit and type. I can put on a headset and look at my cell phone and have a relatively intense phone call where the person I'm talking to knows that he or she has my full attention. I'm able to take some notes and talk as if I'm really in an office. So now that I've got the job down so it's sort of fluid and natural, I know when and where I'm going to have time. I know that I can click I'll be late if I need to, and it's now become very relaxing. I have generous amounts of time for the phone calls that I might need to make or the writing that I might need to do through the course of the deliveries. So if I need to be someplace, that might be a little restrictive because the app kind of wants you to be someplace else. And the app wants to decide where you should go, doesn't want the delivery person deciding where to go. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have the freedom to do it. You can go offline. You can go where you want to go. So the limited freedom in location is, I feel it. The limited freedom in mental processing, phone calls, writing is generous. It's a perfect complement to the job. So I am putting my activity on Twitter as I go through the day, and I just had a great day. It just, I think my tweets show it was fun. I'm the kind of person who wants to know what this notification is, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to stay focused on Postmates. So here are my tweets for today. This is, let me do the list here first. I've got this liquor store. I checked an ID for the first time today. Listeners, this is a tip. I called from the liquor store, and I said the woman's name was Ashley. I am not disclosing the customer's identity. The woman's name is Ashley, and I said, I have to check IDs. Is someone there of age that can show me an ID? And she said, of course. So it was great. She greeted me at the door with her ID. So that call to me was something I will repeat. Bed Bath & Beyond, I'd never been to Bed Bath & Beyond before. My wife has corrected me. I'd never been to Bed Bath & Beyond and realized that it is as big. This is a cavernous place in the Upper West Side. I bought sheets for a woman on 79th Street. And look, she tipped me $5. Came to the door in a robe. There was miscommunication. She didn't seem very happy with me, and then she tipped me $5. Tip $5 on a job like that is generous. Juice Generation, Postmates General Store. I went to Dwayne Reed for someone. I bought cough medicine for healthy people. I got Dayquil and NyQuil and toilet paper and Red Bull. Sounds like someone is sick. And the man I talked to sounded like he was in perfect health, and the woman that greeted me at the door seemed like she was dressed and hair done and made up and didn't seem sick at all. And Ever Lane is something to do with fashion. It wasn't food. I was moving, I think, some shirts around to one of their clients. This is a picture, one of the inside of this absolutely gorgeous building. This is a historic building, middle 19th century, Beaux Arts architecture. There's a handful of them in the city that still stand today. It's an extraordinary landmark. It went up in the same period of time as the Dakota. The Dakota building is famous because John Lennon was shot and killed there. He lived there with his surviving wife, Yoko. So this is in the same genre, different architecture, different style architecture, but during the same period of time. Apartment building, absolutely extraordinary building. I know of this when I was a pedicab driver. It used to be on my tour, and now I had the pleasure of going inside. So this is a hallway. I'm not going to click on this, but this is a stairway. It is just so frightening. I mean, if someone wants to commit suicide, woo, you would die. You're up 14 floors. You can fall right down all the way down to the bottom. Boop. And here, the green screens, if they're opened, it says things like how much I get paid on the deliveries. And Californian with questions. This I did in the process of my day, and it went in perfect complement to delivery. I sat down and I wrote that today. It took my time and attention for 20 minutes, and I knew I had the time, and then I went about my day with Postmates. It was just such an awesome day. Yes, we're hiring. Postmates is always hiring. And here's my total earnings, career to date. Postmates, I'm now over $1,000 with 137 deliveries. This is, I thought I had one other thing to say, and it's not coming to me. I'm going to check. Postmates General Store. Here's another one that I didn't go to the Duane Reade I was assigned. I don't know why the app is not smarter, but I went to one very close to the customer's apartment. I would have gone out of my way if I had gone to the one that the app assigned. So listeners, there is the freedom to go to the most efficient Starbucks, the most efficient Duane Reade, and no, the app doesn't always choose the best one. So listeners, if you are listening to more than one of these, on occasion you will hear a tone in my voice and say, just trust the app and do what it says. Because I'm finding that this job is better if I try not to overthink it. When it's deliveries start coming, just start doing them and don't worry where I'm going. When I was first new, I was trying to somehow think that if I engage my brain, I could do better than what the app could do. I've now surrendered to the app, with some exceptions. This is one. I went to a different Duane Reade. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao.